Hi, Amy.
Happy.
We just watched 90 Day Fiancé the Other Way, Season 7, Episode 20. Did it meet with your approval? Final episode of the season?
I mean, I guess you could say it met my expectations because they were so incredibly low.
All
Yes.
right. Okay.
Thoughts? Yours?
Mm.
Not the same?
I wasn't disappointed as you were. I was kind of shocked at some of the things that were said and the argument style of a couple of the couples. Yeah. We'll get into it. Before we do, quick 1 and 2. 1, rate, review, and follow us wherever you listen to the podcast. 2, watch us on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé. Honestly, let us begin with Pattiya and Dylan. My first thought was, oh yay, the couple that works out together stays together. But if that's the case, then why are we revisiting them after their engagement?
Yeah, I wasn't quite clear on that. I can't say that I've ever actually worked out with a partner. I find it very distracting. I like to do things on my own. Sometimes it's nice to have someone there for support, though he seems to be so overbearing and so controlling. Like she can't have any fun. Uh, I don't know. This couple really bothers me.
Okay, so tell me about that. If you were working out with your significant other, which you say you don't do, but if you were, and they were giving you some instruction as to how to do an exercise properly, would you be offended and call them controlling, or would you not?
I think it depends on how it's delivered. I think, if there's patience and compassion and, they're coming from a place of trying to help you perform better or something, I think that would be great. It just seemed as though he was nitpicking at her about absolutely everything.
Okay, fair enough. I just did not pick up on that at all. I felt completely different. But this is me, and this is you, and this is what it means to be two different people watching the same show. We have different opinions of how things go down. I felt like his suggestions and instructions as to how to do the exercise properly were being brutally dismissed without any consideration for the help that he was actually trying to provide to her. And I was trying to put myself in her shoes, and I was like, well, wow, I would have loved to have the corrections to the movements to know how to do it properly and to hear from somebody who knows more than me about this subject. I would not have been saying, yeah, you're just so controlling. I would not have been insulted by that at all. If it was something that I didn't know anything about, if it was something where I was already very, very confident in it and somebody was trying to correct me, I would probably give them the side eye. But I felt like this was just Pattiya being really, really annoying. So I had the opposite reaction to you.
I feel like both can be true because we've seen how much she judges everything else in her life, her spending, which has obviously been an issue in the past. Okay, maybe fair. Their food. Remember when she first moved
Yeah.
there and they were
Yeah.
talking about his diet and how she has to adhere to that? There's been so many situations that lead me to believe that he is a lot more controlling than we've seen in the edit, and that's why her response has been so strong. Or she's just Pattiya.
Because she controls him with the phone calls to his mother and all of that junk. They both have fingers
Tries
in
to
each
control
other's
him.
pots,
Really doesn't
so to
work.
speak. Yeah, I mean, he tries to control her, it doesn't work. She tries to control him, it doesn't work. It seems like they're both trying to achieve the same goal and butting up heads with one another so often that it really doesn't work. And yet they love each other, and so they want to try to make it work. I don't know. I just felt like there is an extraordinary battle of wills always going on with this couple, and neither one can admit that they're trying to control the other and recognize that and let it go just a little bit in order to make their relationship more peaceful.
The stubbornness. Yes, I can see that. And then in this little argument, he drops the bomb that he thinks that she's been prostituting herself.
It was not a nice thing to say.
I had to rewind that, I wanna say at least thrice,
Thrice.
because I was so flabbergasted. Thrice. And the look on her face was odd. Like, if you could put a what into a facial expression, that's exactly what it would have been.
Yeah, I did not appreciate that assumption that he made, and I'm sure Pattiya did not either. However, I'm going to put in one of those here. She did just say that she wants to go back to the States and dance more, which we thought was an idea that she abandoned when he asked her to marry him because that was one of her conditions to stay with him, that he has to ask her to marry, she won't go back and dance. So what gives there?
I feel like they both had contingencies that they both failed upon.
I'm not convinced this couple has enough good communication skills to make it work. I think that they have some pretty big issues, and among them are control, trust, respect for boundaries, communication, honesty, and they don't seem to be tackling any of those in any real sense.
You know what I do appreciate is the fact that they're not talking about having children.
Well, I mean, she can't. So it's a moot point, right?
The bar is I mean, well, we've seen other couples with older women who are considered geriatric and or possibly beyond the ability to procreate, and yet they keep talking about procreating. And it's like, do you know what the challenges and risks are? Anyway, I'm just glad that they're not doing it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. They seem to have resolved things a little bit. But like I said, I do not have high hopes for the future of this couple. I think next week when we have the tell all, there may be some news to reveal.
It will be interesting to see.
Okay, then. Let's move on to Luke and Madeleine. It's their big day. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I like the fact that when Luke's dad and Luke were getting ready for the wedding, that it seemed pretty obvious that Luke's dad was fishing for, do you want out? Do you need a getaway? You could see it in his face when he asked him if he's sure, if he doesn't have any doubts. Sadly, Luke went ahead with it anyway.
Well, they both had a ton of doubts, but why not just do it anyway? Sorry, my eyes rolled back into my head almost as far as dead. And I loved it when his dad said that he had the same conversation with Madeleine about, whether or not she had any concerns or anything, and how she actually paused and thought about it. And I almost snorted out my beverage. She did not. She was trying to compose herself so she didn't lose her shit at you. She didn't mean a word that came out of her mouth. I think we talked about this on the last episode. She was keeping her composure. She
Yeah,
wasn't thinking about your question in any capacity. His dad gave her way too much credit.
I
Like,
believe you are correct. Hmm.
thank you.
For me, it was over the moment that we saw Madeleine putting on her wedding dress. I knew at that point there was no going back. She wouldn't put on the dress if she wasn't going to go through with it. She loves the attention way too much to be giving up this moment of spotlight where everybody's attention is going to be focused in on her at the last minute. She's not going to step away from it. So, yeah, it and then there was a helicopter. Whoop, whatever.
Yeah. What? Why couldn't they both arrive in the helicopter?
No. No. I
Very
have
thorough.
nothing.
Very. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I care about your thoughts. I just don't care about these two.
Do you care to hazard a guess as to what status their relationship will be in when we see them at the tell-all?
Oh, I've seen spoilers. I don't want to say it out loud.
Okay. Okay. Based on what you saw of the preview of next week, I thought it was interesting that he's in the studio and she is not. Read into that what you will. Okay. Let's leave those two where they are and read on to Jenny and Sumit.
Yeah.
Another quite
Okay.
short segment. So the big question here is Jenny leaving? Is she going to get her own apartment?
My notes say not applicable. As in, I wrote absolutely nothing down for this segment. It seemed like such a non-issue. Yet again, keep having this conversation. We've been having this conversation on and off for 7 years. Leave or don't leave. Keep saying that your finances were the biggest reason why you moved in with Sumit's parents. And if you have enough money to live on your own, then what was the point of moving back? It doesn't make any sense. You either have the money or you don't. So either leave or don't. But I'm sick of hearing about it.
The things that caught my attention here were Jenny saying to Sumit that it's all on him, not just for the future, as in you have to find us a new apartment so we can move, but also you should have tried harder in the past to keep things going so that we could maintain our old apartment and live on our own. She puts it all on him, which boggles the mind. You guys are a married couple. Isn't it on both of your shoulders equally? No, according to Jenny, not. And the other thing that caught my attention was Sumit saying to Jenny she should be happy that she's finally been accepted by his family. Yes, I suppose so, although it doesn't seem like they, especially mom, really likes her. I feel like they're just tolerating Jenny. So there were a few moments where
Yeah.
things were just kind of nasty between the two of them.
Yeah, it seemed like a conditional tolerance of Jenny's presence in the house.
And then Sumit
You're right.
says he's given everything to Jenny, everything. And when he was listing off, I got a divorce for her. But Sumit, you lied to her. You told her that you weren't married. And then came as a total and complete shock to her that you were married and that you guys were living together, but you were married to somebody else at the time. Of course, you had to get a divorce. Just some of his arguments were a little bit strange.
Didn't he marry the other woman when he was seeing Jenny too? So the marriage happened. Like all of that happened during the relationship. I don't know. You know how I am with timelines, but this it's just so delusional. He's doing everything for everyone and no one appreciates what he does. It just seems as though every effort that he makes just falls short somehow,
Mhm.
especially when looking at the cafe. And again, where's the cafe?
That's fine. Okay, so Jenny's ultimatum in this moment is to say to Sumit, I'm moving out by myself unless you get us our own apartment, which is a completely empty threat. She has nowhere to go and she has no means to arrange for this solo apartment anyway. She's completely helpless. She has no facility to help herself, to take the initiative, to go out into the world and do something on her own, as we have seen time and time again.
Yes.
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 Mm.
Then she's gonna have to buy her own furnishings. She's gonna have to pay rent. She's gonna have to pay utilities. And apparently she doesn't know how to count with rupees anymore. So that's gonna be like an uphill battle for Jenny.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I have to say about them. Do you have anything further?
I do not.
Let us read on then to the main event this week, which was Chloe and Jonathan. The good news is that we start off this discussion, if you will, by having Chloe apologize for the awful thing that she said to Jonathan, which we heard about last week, and I was very pleased to hear that. And that's about the only good news I have to report.
I would really like to highlight the fact that Jonathan seems to think that it's a great excuse to say that he's a guy. My behavior should be excused because I'm a guy. I was bored. I cheated, but yeah, you did worse. This is the first and only time I've ever actually felt for her because I feel like many of us have encountered this kind of human being before who, purports to be, such a great guy. He wants a future. He's so down to earth and he's so chill and loyal. And then it comes out that he's a complete and utter douche. I've said this before and I will say it again. I was completely fooled by him. His behavior absolutely disgusts me. And at the same time, Chloe's was appropriate. I'm so glad she got out of there and didn't even entertain him when he said, we could get back together or whatever he said. I think I wrote it down. I would take you back, man. Delusional. Delusional. So they did deserve each other at some point because they were both off their rockers. And now it seems as though he's gone ass over tea kettle, if is that the right phrase? Yeah. So now he's gone that way and makes her look like the sane one. Like now he has completely confirmed any and all of her insecurities, any of the issue, like any of her trust issues. I was really disappointed by him in this episode, and I'm glad that Chloe.
Yeah, I'm glad she left as well. I am also very disappointed in his behavior, but more so I'm just horrified by the attempts at manipulation that he engaged in and the complete lack of
Mhm.
contrition and the empty, hollow apologies that meant absolutely nothing because there was always a but. Like, I'm sorry for what I did,
It was
but
antagonistic.
your reaction was wrong. Excuse me? Because she went through your phone and
Mhm.
found the evidence that supported what she suspected was happening, that that somehow is supposed to vindicate him and make her behavior worse than his? No, no, not at all. Not on in any reality does that excuse you cheating on her because she actually found out about it by breaching your privacy. Yes, if you had this stuff on your phone, that not only shows that you're guilty, but it shows intention to do it again and again because you're keeping the evidence. You're using that to whatever, stimulate yourself. Ugh.
Lack of care,
Mhm.
lack of forethought. Yeah. I really I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of his mouth. Like, when he told her that she wasn't shit, I think her reaction was very appropriate. I think it was a little more subdued than what my reaction would have been, but just like that gaped mouth staring at him like, "What the F did you just say to me?" And then him piping back, "I know I cheated, but why are you treating me this way?" Because he's the victim? Oh god. I really misread that, and that bothers me a lot.
That was perhaps the most insidious part of it when he said, "You treat me so badly, so therefore I have no choice but to look elsewhere and to do these things." No, no. And I'm a guy, that's my excuse, like you said earlier. All I wanted him to do was to shut up, to allow her to leave while he still had a shred of dignity. But the more he spoke, the less dignity he had, and it ended up with him just being a complete disgusting shell of a human being. The insult to her, telling her that she's not worth shit was, just a bridge too far. I'm sorry. This is extremely, extremely abusive behavior. And then when he tried to backpedal and smooth things over, as if he hadn't just put her head in a toilet and flushed it many times over, theoretically speaking, not literally speaking, he's acting as if he's doing her a favor. It's completely insane. This is the behavior of an insane person to think that he can do this to her and at the same time just go, oh, well, don't you want to try again? Don't you want to give me a second chance? What? Why would you think that a human being would want to come back to that kind of abuse? Yes, she's young, but she has a little bit of integrity.
Well, I mean, we weren't quite sure about that, but now we can see that she does. And I think at this point, her mom is just going to be celebrating and having Chloe's room deep cleaned before she inevitably returns home and Chloe returns back to her regularly scheduled programming.
Mhm. Via a first class ticket back to Boston, courtesy of mom.
She's been pampered all her life. She's going to be able to have a hot shower.
Yes. Yes, she is. She is definitely going to have a much better life without this guy now that we see him for who he really is. And I'm happy that she's escaped. I'm happy that she's going to go back to mom. I do wish, however, that mom would cut the strings a little bit and allow Chloe just to find her own way rather than always coddling her and financially backing her to the extent where Chloe doesn't even pay her own cell phone bill. Like, come on, she's in her 20s, lady. Overall, I can't complain though. I'm happy this is over.
Me too. Now for the tell all, which is next week.
Yes, it is. I forgot to mention with regards to Madeleine and Luke, I thought it was very fitting that on their wedding day, there was absolutely no sunshine whatsoever. It was a very, very cloudy day. I was like, okay, if this is not a sign, I don't know what is. And I have a feeling that we will see them once more on a 90 Day Fiancé show. The likelihood, in my opinion,
Lord.
is that they would appear on The Last Resort along with Jenny and Sumit. They're definitely headed there too. Because they
Okay.
haven't milked the 90 Day Fiancé cow
I'm not
enough.
happy about that. I'm not happy with that.
And neither am I. And you know what? I do not have any plans this time around to watch The Last Resort. It was very painful the first
Well, we
time,
didn't
and
watch the last one either.
no, no, that's right, we didn't. So, yeah, that one is out the window for me, no longer consideration, but I just find it amusing to see who they pick to go on that show. I think Shekinah Sarper, Jenny Sumit, maybe Luke and Madeleine, who knows who else, but it's not worth our time to go there.
No,
However,
thanks.
tell
Okay,
all,
well, glad we
yay,
got that
tell
out
all
of the
next
way.
week.
Oh, is that what you meant by TA?
Yes, tell all.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like another spin-off of 90 Day that I just didn't get a hold of the acronym on. But yes, the tell next week.
Yay, yay, I can't wait. I really look forward to seeing what's going on with Manon and Anthony, and I hope that Greta is doing well and that she's found somebody else. That's about it. Any last comments before we go?
I'm so glad that this is almost over. This season has been a little bit of a roller coaster, but just really lacking in originality and I don't know, entertainment value. Then I feel guilty saying that because, I prefer my drama to be on the TV and not in my real life. As long as someone's having drama.
I think this season has been pretty good. I mean, minus the Jenny and Submit repetitiousness, I've really enjoyed getting to know the new couples. As annoying as some of them have been, I like the fact that TLC made the effort to get new people this year rather than recycling, recycling, recycling. So
Mhm, mhm.
that was really good. The tell all is the icing on the cake, but again, I hope that they don't draw it out too long. 2 episodes would be plenty, I think, to wrap up all of these people's stories at most.
That's a fair assessment. I can also share the appreciation for the new couples. I feel like it's been so long since we've had new ones. It's been nice to have them, but I do think that the tell all is going to be better than at least the last couple episodes that we've seen.
Here's hoping. Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. If you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks everyone.
See you next week.